490 people. They're doing backflips. Oh gosh, you got Yahoo doing backflips, ESPN doing backflips, Fox doing backflips, Front Office Sports doing backflips. All of them said, you know what? We've ignored Unrivaled all season long. Finally, they give us something good to talk about. And they all just publish it. Oh, 21,000, record breaking.
Over 21,000 fans filled a massive arena in Philadelphia. Sports networks went wild with excitement. ESPN, Yahoo, Fox Sports, every major outlet ran nearly identical headlines. Unrivaled sets new attendance record. At last, the league had a moment to brag about after weeks of struggling for attention. But there was something those glowing reports carefully left out. Even though thousands showed up at the venue, hardly anyone across the country tuned in on TV. And the latest ratings have exposed a reality much more concerning than
Friday, January 30th, Unrivaled takes over Philadelphia. Breeze vs. Phantom, 40,000 viewers in the 18 to 49 demographic. Rose vs. Lunar Owls, 40,000 viewers in the 18 to 49 demographic. Of all of the programs featured here, they are 146th and 160th in national rankings for television that night.
40,000 viewers, that was the audience size for each matchup that Friday night among the crucial 18 to 49 age group. For comparison, those two Unrivaled contests placed 46th and 160th overall in national television rankings for the evening, not just within sports broadcasts, but across every program on air. With that in mind, the reported attendance of 21,000 suddenly adds up, since it represents the very same fans who would typically be watching from home. Shifting the event to Philadelphia didn't actually create new interest. It simply transferred an existing audience from living rooms into stadium seats. In the end, it was merely a special occasion, and very few people bothered to tune.
They were packed into the... Makes perfect sense now. Makes perfect sense now. You take a look at Unrivaled ratings. You take a look at year 2 for Unrivaled. Unrivaled, the golf league, taking viewership hit in second seasons. This is an article put out by Sports Media Watch. The two new leagues who generated headlines at the start of last year are off to slower starts in their sophomore campaigns. The women's 3v3 basketball league Unrivaled was averaging 103 viewers across TNT and True TV through week 3 of the season as of January 26th, down 44% from the first 3 weeks of last year's inaugural season.
That Philadelphia fiasco is only a reflection of a far deeper issue. Sports Media Watch recently released its review of Unrivaled's second season, and the figures are nothing short of disastrous. The league is currently drawing an average of just 103,000 viewers across TNT and True TV. During the first 3 weeks, that represents a 44% drop from last year's debut season, when ratings hovered between 90 and 105,000. Let that sink in. In a single year, nearly half of the audience has vanished. This is a league that introduced 2 additional teams, increased to 4 nights of weekly games, and spent huge amounts of money on marketing and promotion. They put Caitlin Clark on Good Morning America. They staged a major event in Philadelphia that attracted widespread media attention. Yet even with all that hype and investment, viewership still plunged by 44%. The situation looks even more alarming when broken down by network. Games broadcast on both TNT and True TV are averaging 145,000 viewers, while those shown only on True TV are pulling in just 64,000. And that highlights the real issue. Unrivaled added a 4th game night this season, and all of those extra broadcasts are exclusive to True TV. So they increased the number of games, but hardly anyone tuned.
5,000. Did I read that correctly? Unrivaled was averaging 103,000 viewers across TNT and True TV. That's nasty work. That's crazy bad. That's true.
Now, Unrivaled will likely point to football competition as the main reason for their problems. And it's fair to say that many of their broadcasts up to January 26th went head-to-head with NFL or college football games. The two most watched telecasts so far were the January 5th debut and the January 26th slot, both of which did not face football at all. But here's the reality. Look at the Philadelphia event on Friday, January 30th. There was zero football competition. It had a completely open schedule, huge advertising push, record crowd numbers, and plenty of media attention across the sports world. Yet despite all of that, they still managed to attract only 40,000 viewers per game in the key demographic. You can't keep blaming football when you're given a perfect chance and still fail to draw an audience. Eventually, you have to accept that the interest simply isn't there. Fans aren't searching for unrivaled games. They aren't looking for this product, even when it's easy to.
Unrivaled is going to be behind a paywall soon enough, folks. Soon enough, they're going to be behind a paywall, whether it's HBO Max, whether it's Paramount Plus, whether it's Netflix. We talked about that. Whatever it is, their days on TV are numbered. Game simulcasts on both TNT and True TV are averaging 135,000, while games that are exclusive.
Viewership is dropping at a shocking pace. And when a league watches nearly half of its audience vanish in just one season, even with more teams and heavier marketing, that can't be brushed off as a short-term issue. Points to a serious flaw in the overall product. Which leads to the big question, how much longer before Unrivaled gets pushed behind a paywall? With only 103,000 average viewers on TNT and True TV, these ratings simply don't support the airtime they're being given. They aren't bringing real value to the network. They're occupying schedule space that could easily be used.
Let's get into some positive news, shall we? Let's get into something a little bit more positive. Sunday night basketball, milestone for NBA on NBC Sports. Lakers-Knicks, 4.5 million viewers on NBC plus Telemundo, 5 million peak audience. Most watched regular season Sunday night NBA game since 2002, excludes Christmas Day. Sunday night NBA games.
Now let's take a look at what real success truly looks like, because the difference is impossible to ignore. While Unrivaled continues to struggle, Caitlin Clark has stepped into her new role as an NBA analyst on NBC, and the network is already considering giving her even more responsibility. Sunday night basketball on NBC attracted 4.5 million viewers for the Lakers versus Knicks matchup, reaching a peak audience of 5 million. That makes it the most watched regular season Sunday NBA broadcast since 2002, not counting Christmas Day games. The Thunder versus Nuggets game that aired afterward brought in an average of 2.9 million viewers. Altogether, the two-game Sunday night basketball lineup delivered an average of 3.7 million viewers. These aren't just solid ratings. They are outstanding results that go beyond expectations and prove that NBC's major investment in bringing the NBA
Sunday game since 2018, all Sunday windows. Most watched game of the season across all networks, excludes tip-off and Christmas Day. Thunder Nuggets average 2.9 million viewers, NBC plus Telemundo. Sunday night basketball, two-game average, 3.7 million viewers. Let's get into what the executives over there at NBC had to say. NBC Sports leadership weighs in. Rick Cordella spoke positively about Clark's debut, noting that she did a good job and handled.
Rick Cordella, an executive at NBC Sports, shared his thoughts publicly about Clark's debut as an analyst. He praised her performance, saying she handled the role confidently and professionally. Cordella pointed out her strong knowledge of basketball and her clear communication style, emphasizing that she appeared fully prepared and relaxed on air. This was especially impressive considering the massive audience and the pressure that comes with appearing on a national NBA broadcast from Madison Square Garden. But the real significance goes beyond the positive feedback. NBC has already arranged for Clark to return. She is officially set to analyze the Knicks-Thunder game on March 29th, and Cordella openly stated that he looks forward to involving her more in the future. That goes far beyond simple compliments. It shows real enthusiasm for developing.
Caitlin Clark nailed it, according to the executives, in her NBC speaking analyst role. Love to see it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me.
Here's why this moment matters so much, both for Caitlin Clark and for the larger discussion surrounding women's basketball. NBC isn't putting her on air as a gimmick or a temporary attraction. They're bringing her into their NBA broadcasts because she offers real knowledge, intelligent breakdowns, and a player's perspective that viewers respect. She's adding depth and credibility to their coverage through experience gained at the highest level of the sport. And that's important because it shows a professional pathway that isn't tied to the unstable structure of the WNBA or experimental leagues like Unrivaled. Clark is developing a diverse career that goes far beyond simply being an athlete. She's positioning herself as a legitimate media figure with long-term value to major networks. NBC recognizes that she can contribute across multiple platforms including the NBA, NFL, Olympics, and streaming services. That reach is far greater than anything the WNBA or Unrivaled could realistically provide. Look at the difference unfolding right in front of us. Unrivaled poured huge resources into launching a brand new league, expanding teams, creating schedules, signing TV contracts with TNT and True TV, and staging heavily promoted events. They followed the traditional blueprint for building a sports brand, yet their ratings still dropped by 44% in just one season, falling to an average of only 103,000 viewers. At the same time, Caitlin Clark appeared on a single NBA broadcast, delivered smart and engaging commentary, and NBC immediately began discussing bigger and more frequent roles for her. She's improving a product that already succeeds instead of trying to rescue one that audiences clearly ignore. The takeaway is straightforward. There is enormous interest in high-level basketball, as the NBA demonstrates every week with audiences in the millions. Fans clearly enjoy hearing from knowledgeable players who can analyze the game from the inside. And there is absolutely room for women to thrive in major sports media positions when they bring genuine expertise. What there doesn't seem to be strong interest in is small-scale 3-on-3 basketball leagues during the WNBA offseason. Unrivaled believed that heavy promotion and flashy events could create demand, but marketing alone can't force people to care. Drawing 40,000 viewers with no competing football games and still calling it a success tells the whole story about the limits of that concept. The Unrivaled approach was built on the idea that WNBA fans are hungry for any additional basketball content and would automatically tune in. The numbers show the opposite. Fans are not watching in meaningful amounts. They aren't treating it as essential viewing or even casual entertainment. They simply aren't interested, and that creates a serious issue for the league moving forward. If ratings are already falling in year 2, what happens in year 3? What happens when the excitement completely fades and they're just another small sports program barely reaching 60,000 viewers on cable? At some point, the financial model no longer works. Television networks don't keep shows alive out of generosity. They need programming that attracts advertisers and delivers results. With just over 100,000 viewers, Unrivaled isn't providing that. The only reason it remains on major channels is because Warner Bros. Discovery signed multi-year contracts before seeing how weak the audience would be. Those deals will eventually expire, and when they do, Unrivaled will almost certainly be pushed behind a streaming paywall. The move will be framed as progress, but in reality it will be a downgrade caused by poor performance. And once it disappears from regular television, even fewer casual fans will ever come across it. Now compare that to Caitlin Clark's path. She's reaching millions on national broadcasts. She's working within established brands that already draw huge audiences. She's building relationships and skills that will benefit her long after her playing career ends. And she's doing all of this without relying on the questionable economics of the WNBA or a struggling startup league. That is the intelligent strategy. Attach your name to platforms that already succeed instead of trying to create interest where none exists. So the real question is this: was the Philadelphia showcase truly a victory for Unrivaled, or just an expensive illusion? They generated headlines and filled seats for one night, but they didn't turn that attention into lasting viewership. They failed to grow their audience or prove long-term potential. All they demonstrated was that enough advertising money can create temporary excitement. That isn't a sustainable foundation. Meanwhile, Clark stepped into a broadcast booth, delivered quality analysis, and instantly earned future opportunities. No overhyped events, no forced narratives, just professional work that improved an existing product. That's why she is building something stable while Unrivaled continues to lose relevance. The conversation around women's basketball has to move beyond the assumption that any new league will automatically succeed. The sharp ratings decline proves otherwise. Audiences want authentic, high-quality content, not ideas that only sound impressive in announcements. Right now, the market is making it very clear what people prefer. NBA basketball enhanced by voices like Caitlin Clark, not experimental leagues struggling to keep